With us here on TVC Breakfast, it's not time for us to look at the dailies, what they are reporting this morning. Let me go through the papers very quickly. The Nation newspaper, which is the first, is at the main headline: One Party Controversy, Ganduje, Demagom, Gabam clash, PDP, SDP chairman, Labour Party tackle APC chair. Nigerian News Direct: APC will soon split, Ganduje, others may return to PDP, Sule, Lamido. The Punch newspaper sees other issues, political issues. Rivers emergency rule, federal government taps ex-AGF, 11 sons as Supreme Court battle looms. The Platform Times says Benin Republic closes Lagos borders amid terror, arms smuggling alert. And the Blueprint talks about education, 2025 UTME mass failure indicative of system collapse. That's according to experts. Abuja Inquirer: inside NUC's varsity approval bazaar, approves 50 new varsities between 2023 and 2025. ASU kicks, says approval political. This Nigeria talks about financial sector, halt soaring bank SMS charges. CBN urged customers lament exploitative tendencies, switch to email alerts to cut costs. And Sporting Live talks about the Nottingham-Leicester, which was draw. Forest owner queries Nuno over Woniyi as Nigerians injury left host playing with 10 men. We thought he was okay to continue, coach replies. This time round, I'll be having this conversation with my colleague in the studio, Veronica. Let's look at the Nation newspaper as well as related headlines, which talked about the defection or defections of people from different parties, talking about NNPP, talking about PDP, massively, the Labour Party, and there are different prognoses. Some are already foreseeing that this party is going to, is going to collapse on itself, and we might see, and we might see these people exodusing, so to speak, back to their various parties.
Let them wait till that time now. The question I feel they should start asking themselves is what is going on with us.
That's right.
If a wife decides to leave the husband or the husband decides to leave the wife, the husband should question, what did I do to her to deserve this movement, or what is he doing, and all of that that is making us go our separate ways. So if the APC says its doors are open, and they, from their experience over the years, are a party that merged from different persons came in. You remember we had the NPDP at the time that came in. We had the CPC, I think, that also came in. They merged at that point to form APC. They haven't separated as it is. And a lot of people at that time were saying it's a marriage of strange bedfellows, and they wanted to see how they would survive. Despite the intrigues that happened, I think, in 2014 or 2013 at the time, and 2014-15, we saw different things happening. The party has still stayed up until this time to form a formidable opposition to the PDPs of today, the Labour parties of today, the NNPPs, and all of it. And then before it came into government, then the other parties should look inward and ask themselves, what is this party doing that perhaps we need to borrow a leaf from? Why are our members leaving us for this party?
Could it be that, when you have a party at the apogee, at the end of affairs, when you say, if it's where the Labour Party that holds the presidency, that's at the federal government, could it be possible that we'll have APC, PDP also moving? Is it about the party in power? Don't you see it from that angle?
I don't see it from that angle. It's beyond the party being in power. Of course, our politicians, the peculiarities we have, where it is that one of the governors that moved to the APC said that he wants to be connected with the party in power so that he can bring development to his
to their own state,
Of course, but I asked the question, what difference has it made? Are you saying that development have not been in your state because you were not connected to that party? It's all about interest.
And what are you doing yourself?
What are you doing in yourself?
To ensure development?
It's all about interest. That's what everyone is looking for right now. Interest. If I stay with you, how have you positioned yourself in such a way that my interest will thrive at the end of the day? That's what they are looking at. Are you saying APC just came in for the first are we saying that APC just came into power?
That's right.
We had the former President Buhari in government. We did not see this massive defection. So it's not just about the party in power. It's about how this party has been able to position itself in such a way that if I come in there as a politician, would I be able to achieve some of the things that I want to achieve? What will happen to perhaps all of the things that I'm looking forward to? It is all about interest. And if I position myself in Labour Party, will I be able to achieve that? If I position myself in NNPP, will I get the support that I need? These are the things that our politicians are looking at as against the interests of the people and our democracy. But I believe that the opposition should begin to look inward and ask themselves.
I want us to touch on what is on the front page of the Punch. But before I talk about that, you remember, could it be a prognosis that was made by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the time? He was going to say something, I think during election hour, when he said PDAPC. And people said he was not speaking out of his right minds and all of that. But remember, could that be a prophecy? Now we are seeing PDP and APC
but recall that some of the governors, supported him. Some of the governors in the PDP, about 5 of them supported him.
That's right.
During the election.
And that was PDAPC. So we're not seeing it manifest.
Of course. Now we are seeing it manifesting.
Right. If you look at River State, talk about federal government tapping AGF, 11 senior advocates. And then, but one thing I want us to take out from this, we know the legal battle in River State over the emergency rule is there. But His Excellency, the suspended governor of River State, Fubara, saying that, you guys just have to, simmer down, tone down your protests, tone down all of these things. In fact, what we came to do here is all about us, reminiscing and eulogizing our sage, that's Edwin Clark. So I don't even think my spirit is even back to River State seat. Who told you that I want to come back? What could be happening? Is this signaling something?
No, he can't. If you are suspended, you are suspended. Right. He has to wait. So it shouldn't come as a surprise.
No, he didn't say he's waiting. He's saying that his spirit, who told you that my spirit is even there?
That his spirit left that position a long time ago. And is he saying that he didn't want to contest in the first place? Or that that position, he just took it out of pressure and all
or he feels differently to be out of power?
So now that he is suspended, he's seen the difference and he's feeling, you know what? You guys don't stress me and all of it. But because he's suspended, for me, it is neither here nor there. He has to wait till that suspension time is over and he's brought back into the office. But obviously, he's reflecting on his activities at the time before he was suspended. That's what it means from my perspective. And he's seeing that perhaps there were steps I shouldn't have taken. Perhaps there were persons I shouldn't have listened to and gone in the direction that I went. Perhaps I should just have focused
especially
on delivering who supported good governance.
Him, who supported him, were coming on TV and all of that, and they are nowhere to be found.
Perhaps he should have focused on delivering good governance and just ensuring that he spent his 4 years in the way he should and giving the people what he promised to give them. But we know, this matter is heading to the courts. The PDP governors are asking serious questions and saying that if the president had the right to impose a state of emergency, or is it in contravention of the 1999, talking about our constitution, if it's in contravention of the constitution and all of it. These questions, they are looking forward to the Supreme Court addressing this matter thoroughly so that they have a position as it is. But I felt that they could have dealt with whatever issues they had before the matter got to this point.
Most definitely. Platform Times is next. What we talk about, the main headline here, borders and security. Benin Republic closes Lagos borders amid terror, arms smuggling alert. And that signals more tensions, among the West African states, especially us bordering Benin Republic. We expected that, yes, there should be free movement of goods, people, and people coming into the country. But now the border is being closed due to terror and smuggling.
Yeah, if we know that it has to be free movement, like the ECOWAS had instituted, it did we put security checks in place, because obviously that free movement is being taken advantage of by criminal elements who are traversing both ends or the different ends that are open for them to move. and we are not doing the needful checks. So it obviously shows that there are weaknesses and gaps that we need to address. Security-wise, border control, who are these people? How are they smuggling these weapons into the country as it is? Because we have talked about mopping up of these small arms and light weapons, because we know that Nigeria is seemingly that path that these people carry their weapons through. So it's important that we put in the needed checks to addressing it, because it is fueling what we are seeing as security issues within the country that we have been trying to tame over a decade now, and yet we haven't gotten the needed result that we need to get. So if shutting the borders will be the way to go, and we're looking at perhaps the gaps that we need to close up in while we are still doing this, all in a bid to bring in the needed measures for the safety of our country and the other countries, I think it's a good move from my perspective.
But Veronica, you're not seeing it from the angle of, the problem that had been created by the colonizers. Remember the Berlin Conference, where led by King Leopold II, partitioning Africa, where they now have to create that artificial borders among us, which is, preventing free movement. So we now begin to suspect our neighbors, calling them, this one is coming into our country, it's going to be a problem and all of that. So should we not begin to think, how do we ensure that AFTA works very efficiently so that we have free movement? Because everyone moves around in Europe very easily without any threat to life or property.
But are they not also building borders and saying we are shutting down, we are closing our route to you people as well, talking about those in the developed world? They are also looking at shutting their borders to their neighbors as well. Look at what the US is doing. A lot of persons are also criticizing that move by Trump, saying he wants to shut the
But US is already a fusion of different countries.
Of course, it's a fusion of different countries. If your plans at the initial stage was for free movement, and at the cause of that free movement, we see criminal elements coming, you have to do the needful at the end of the day. So we should stop blaming anyone. Let's
talk about education, and then these two stories, talk about the front page of the Blueprints and Abuja Inquirer. One is looking at the mass failure that greeted the 2025 UTME, and the other one is talking about the proliferation of universities, that some of these failed candidates would still, seek to, gain admission into. What exactly is happening to our education system compared to what obtains in the West?
Beyond what obtains in the West, if you look at the 70s, the 60s, the 80s, the system wasn't like this. And then you ask, what happened? How did we get here? It shows that there is a systemic rot in our system, and that it is seemingly failing. Because what you see is a reflection of how our system has not been able to, grow and develop like our other counterparts across the world, and to also accommodate our growing population. Our population is growing. Of course, that is why you have this number of universities spring up to accommodate those who couldn't, have access to other universities or schools because of cutoff points or other kinds of recommendation that we have had. Over the years, have we revitalized our system? How have we rejigged, our curriculum to reflect the developments of the society? What have we done to our teachers in terms of equipping them? I know Lagos State does a lot in terms of training of teachers and also equipping them to reflect the developments we see across the world, but I don't know of other states how much they are doing regarding that.
That's right.
Beyond the primary level and secondary level, look at our universities. What are the levels that what's the development we have seen? Research institutes, what's the development we have seen in recent times? When you go to these schools, you find that there is dilapidated structure, and you wonder what is going on. You find a lecturer dusting his old lecture notes to teach.
And they have research papers, lying there in the shelves, and they're not being implemented.
It has to be a holistic overhaul.
That's right. Let's talk about money. Now, this Nigeria talks about halting soaring bank SMS charges, which the CBN are calling on the banks to do. Customers lament exploitative tendencies, switch to email alerts to cut costs. The question I'll ask you is, I will ask my bank, what is the use of SMS alerts, where last week I had, a project that I did for someone in 6 figures, and the person was happy with what I did, and then said, okay, I'll look to compensate you. I think he had done the compensation and all of that, and now started receiving alerts. I thought the person sent new money that had already gone out of my account. And then again, just few days after, I started receiving alerts of debit. I was like, what is going on? Who is stealing from my account?
Did you call your bank?
So no, it's just belated alerts of earlier transactions. So what is the use if you can't give me real-time alerts? Well, and you're still collecting money on it, and I'm not getting real-time alerts. You're giving me high blood pressure over this.
I got an email from my bank, and I was wondering what's the essence of this thing, telling me that you are reviewing the cost of
I got
SMS
mine too.
and all of it. If banks were really efficient as they should, I think a lot of people wouldn't be raising an eyebrow about this matter.
That's right.
And if they could explain to us why they are making these deductions, it does not make sense to me. I mean, what does it cost you to send this SMS? Is it the electricity? What is it? Is it the data?
That's right.
I don't know, because when I make transfers, you're already making deductions. And that is not small. Look at the number of persons that will make transfers that day and that amount of deductions. You can imagine how much they are even declaring.
That is why
they are declaring profits over time. I'm not saying don't make profit, but I'm saying look at the average Nigerian, look at the economic situation and have mercy, if that's the word.
On our pockets.
On the average Nigerian.
On our wallets.
Now, this average Nigerian is faced with several taxes at different levels. And you ask, what are these monies being used for? At the end of the day, some persons might just decide, you know what, let me just keep my money under my bed or in my piggy bank.
Please don't do that.
And
don't
whatever.
do that. Let's move on, Veronica.
Well,
Sporting Life, talks about the Nottingham 2-2 with Leicester. Forest owner queries Nuno over Awoniyi, and then you saw the Forest owner, jumping on the pitch, querying the manager, like, how did you not, do this? And we had to hit draw and affecting our chances, for the upcoming matches. But people said, why are you behaving like a kid? Are you supposed to jump on the pitch?
A manager will always be a manager. Of course, passion and energy will always run high when it comes to these matches. You will see them want to display one way or the other. That's why I usually tell people I miss Mourinho and the way he displays himself when it comes to these kinds of things. But it's bound to happen that you were expecting to win a game and then you see yourselves drawing and you're asking, oh, why this, why that?
Your chance, and then their prayer now is that those at the top, one of them should fall so that they can
move in and all of that. But then it's bound to happen. We talk about matches and all of it. But it's good one. It's a good one. Whichever way we want to see it, they are still there, hanging on the thread to hopefully they might make it in as the time goes on.